This conference will now be recorded.
Hi Venkat, good morning. We've been here. We are not able to hear you.
Guys, can you hear me now?
Now it's better, Venkat.
Oh, okay. So actually I changed my
We
headphones.
were
So
unable to hear.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, now
Okay. I changed my headset, but I don't know. It's a new headset. It's giving some issue, I guess. So hope everybody can hear me. Um, okay. So do you have any questions regarding previous session? I hope you got recording session yesterday, recording session. So
Uh,
anybody have any questions?
yes, but session 4 and 5 we didn't get.
Yeah, I know that. So that I told you now, that's a go-to-meeting issue. So I sent customer care. So once I will get, I will share that, guys. I know that these two are missed it. In the history, the two recordings are not available. I mean, total history recordings are not available. I sent a mail to customer care. Once I will get, I will share that one. Okay.
Thank you.
But yesterday I created a new go-to-meeting, so that is giving recording. So hope today also will get.
Venkat, till the time we have the only 4 videos, right?
Yes, man.
Okay, thank you. Even we didn't receive that INF file also.
Is it?
Hmm.
One moment, I will share now itself. Every time I missed it. I hope I sent a mail. Okay, let me see.
Uh,
Okay, anyway, today I will send. I will put in the email. I will send to all the people.
Thank you.
Okay, so you people have any question apart from that subject related? Hope you guys are clear. So let's start with another use case. So yesterday we seen that discussed about the database concept. So how we'll work with the database. What are the dependencies we have to use? I mean, in my mission, I installed only MySQL, guys. Apart from that, if you want to try any other, so just this dependencies changed, right? Apart from that, so remaining all same. There is no big difference. The configuration wise, only the query string is there, no? So whatever the query string we are passing, right, means the query string means this is the one. We discussed about yesterday. Select we discussed already. I just show the insert part. So here this is nothing but a query string, guys. So here you can see here the host, port, user, password, database, and these are all nothing but it's a query string. Okay, so this if you talk any other database apart from that MySQL, so the query string becomes changed. Apart from that, query wise almost same, and then input parameter wise mostly same. The configuration wise becomes changed. Apart from that, nothing's changed if you choose any other database. Okay, that is about that. Apart from that, few of the databases we discussed, NoSQL databases, right? Like Hadoop. Hadoop not required to use this generic database connector. So we have a HBase separate connector is there, like Cassandra for Cassandra database. Cassandra also, it's a NoSQL database. But Postgres, MongoDB, so we have to use this generic database connector. Okay, so for insert, we have to search as a insert, database insert, you can see. Okay, so just drag and drop the database insert, and then so the query becomes, so insert query is you people are aware it. So guys, we should aware about at least basic knowledge on the queries, right? Why? Because if it is a huge queries or else complex queries, right? It's kind of a joins kind of thing. There is a separate backend team is there for every company generally, every client. So they will share us if normal basic queries, or else I told you, right? It's a if backend is not yet started, so we have to finish our work. So at least we have to do POC kind of thing. Once they're done with their queries, we have to take it and we have to map it accordingly, right? So that way we have to knowledge on this area, the SQL queries and all. So here the insert part is only difference is the query part, guys. Yesterday we seen in this particular scenario, I just hard coded. Okay, so yesterday I shown you how to pass as a dynamic, right? As a JSON, we can pass it as a multiple parameters. I'll just show you another use case. So in this particular case, I just put a hard-coded content thing. Okay, how many values we are passing here? So same insert query. In the bottom, I put it as all the values. It's a normal insert query. So if you want to pass it as a dynamic in the input parameter, in the input parameter text area, we have to pass it as a JSON. Okay. Oh, I'll just show you another other use case how to pass it. Okay, this is the way yesterday somebody was asking about that how to pass multiple parameters, right? So this is the one parameter, first name is one parameter, another one is last name is another parameter, guys. So before that we have to get the values as a payload, right? So that from the payload we are pulling that first name and last name, so we are assigning to this first name and last name as a dynamic way. Similarly, in other use case, in the insert also, we have to pass it as the same way, right? We have to pass it all the values like number and then date of birth, first name, last name, gender. All these values we have to pass it as a dynamic. Okay, apart from that, there is no big difference. So hope you can try other queries also, guys. I just show you that select and insert. So delete. So delete as it is same, right? There is no big difference. So just we have to choose the delete database thing here. So then we can say clearly delete. So you can take that and you can write query. So delete query. Then apart from that, so there is a stored procedure concept is there. I will explain stored procedure. So before going to that stored procedure, I just want to explain one more use case here. The SMTP use case I'm trying to explain here, guys. Here, for sending a mails, we have to use the simple mail transfer protocol, right? So that's what I'm trying to explain here. In this particular scenario, I just get the dynamic content also. So earlier we just use a get request. From the get request we get, I mean in the previous use case also, we are getting as a attribute, right? From the attribute we are trying to read the data, then we are giving to the query, so then query will give the results, then we are just displaying that one, right? So but in this particular case, so we are getting as a post request. In the post request, you have to send it as a first name last name as a JSON format, and then from the JSON format, so we are trying to read it. Okay, so we just take it as a one variable here. So if we keep it like this, it becomes a map, guys. So generally, according to data wave expression or else MEL expression, in 3.8 we can call it as a MEL expression, guys, Mule expression language. But in this 4.x we can call it as a data wave expression. Okay, so here, if you keep it single square bracket with hash, that becomes a normal our syntax, right? If you keep it double square bracket now, so that becomes a, you know, whatever you keep it inside, that become map. Okay, so it's a Java object, it become a Java object. So initially I took it as a empty Java object, or else it's an empty map object. I assigned into a one variable, and then so next one is I'm trying to fetch the information, guys. So you can see it here. I just pass it as a I'm just reading whatever I'm passing the content here. I'm just reading the data. I'm just passing here first name and last name. Okay, dynamically I'm getting reading here. So payload dot for first name and payload dot last name. I'm just passing to my query first name here and last name. Select first name, last name, gender, date of birth, hiring date, and from employees, where first name is this and last name is this. We are passing that one. Apart from that, the configuration wise is same, guys. There is no difference. We have to pass the dependency. Apart from that, pass the dependency. So this host name, port number, we are getting as a dynamically, right? You people are aware about it. We already discussed about that. From the Mule artifact dot properties, we read it as a dynamically. So that connection get established, and then this query get executed. Okay, once we get it, so next level, what I'm trying to do it. So there's a where's.db entries. DB entries is this is a variable, guys. You can see this, right? How to read the variable, you people are aware it. We already discussed about that. So I'm just reading that where's.db entries plus payload. So payload means what? Whatever the response we are getting from the database, right? So that becomes a payload. So we are trying to append that one. We're trying to append that one. Then we are trying to, in this particular case, I'm trying to display it log. After that, so we can see it here. There is a data wave here. In the data wave, what we are trying to read it. We're trying to assign the data, guys. First name, last name, and gender, and date of birth, hire date. So whatever you are getting the result, right? We are trying to take it and we are trying to prepare a we are preparing a CSV sheet. Okay, so then this is nothing but a in previous version we have a SMTP connector directly, right? So but here there is no SMTP connector. There is a mail send mail, email send. So this is a connector, guys. Email send, this is a connector we have to drag and drop into the canvas in place of the SMTP. Apart from that, IMAP, POP3, we have other protocols also. This is SMTP protocol. So in this I just fill that SMTP configuration. You can see it here. Here two things are there: SMTP connection and SMTP connection, means secure connection. Okay, so when you are trying to send a mail, um, see here in this particular case I'm using some testing purpose, I'm using my Gmail ID. Okay, so generally this SMTP information will get from network team, right? So suppose you have a separate company email ID, so company maintain a SMTP server information, or else some third party maintain, right? So they will share that all the information: what is the host, what is the port, what is the user password, all these information you will get from the network team. Or else when you are trying to do Outlook setup also, that time also you got to know what is a server name and all, right? So mostly you're not aware about the host name, but you will get to know the server name and all, right? So otherwise network team will share. And then in this particular scenario, for explanation purpose, I just put a my Gmail information, guys. So I'll just show you that part also. Yes, but in this particular case, I'm just trying to read it as a dynamically. And then one more thing here, I just choose a SMTP connection, secure connection, so that in the bottom there is a TLS configuration. TLS configuration. This is for it's a secure. For SSL thing, you will use a TLS configuration. So further, we have to set up that TLS context. Okay, when you choose the TLS context, what it will happen? So generally, when you choose the TLS context, you have to fill that trust row, and then key password. These are all you have to state as certificate, and all you have to fill it, right? But in this particular case, I'm not fill it. That is not required, guys. But generally, when you will go for the TLS thing, when you are talking to secure URLs, suppose HTTPS URLs are there. No? Suppose you are talking to some third-party API, they exposed that it as a secure API. So that time you have to maintain the key store and client store, key store and certificate, and the server side they will maintain the trust store, so that handshake get established. You can able to get the information from the secure APIs or else secure URLs, right? In this particular case, I'm just ignoring that TLS context. For that purpose only, I need the TLS context. I'm not filling anything apart from that. I'll just show you that in the configuration XML how it will get becomes. See, this is a TLS context. Okay, so when I choose the TLS context, insecure true I am putting here. So only for that purpose only, I'm just choosing the TLS context. Apart from that, when you are trying to send a mail to one Gmail to another Gmail, first time we'll get some pop-up. So from the Google, uh, will it allow some insecure emails kind of alert? You will get it, guys. But I already used this email multiple times. That's why I can't able to show that email. But when you are trying to first time you do it, you will get that pop-up or else mail coming from the Google. So then you can enable it, that one, so that time only from one Gmail to another Gmail you can able to send a mail, right? So in real time you won't get this scenario, because so you already trusted one, right? So when you are using your email IDs and all, so that the company will take care of that part. You no need to bother about that, so you won't get that alert. But in this particular case we'll get that scenario. So that's why we have to say insecure true, so that then the time only it allowed to send a mail. Okay, so I'll just show you that configuration part also. There's a Mule artifactory.json. You can see it here. So the mail from where, and then mail subject. So you can see this SMTP host. This is a host, smtp.gmail.com, SMTP port, and then the user, password, and then mail to. So you can see this mail to and mail from in the component send email component. You can see it here. From address, that's a dynamic, and the from mail to whom we have to send, and from where we have to send it, and then what was the subject it is. Okay, and then you can see it attachment. So what it will happen if we keep it like this, on fly it will create a CSV sheet. Okay, so whatever the payload you are getting from the previous step, so what was that? So we are loading the data, right? So loading the data of that particular guy, first name and last name get matched, so the records will come into the payload, right? So in the payload, that payload we are assigning to the, we are putting to the CSV sheet, guys. You can see clearly, square bracket employee.csv, we are assigning to the payload. Okay, if you see the syntax, it's like a, it's a JSON, right? We are just putting that payload into the employee.csv, so that so it will send a mail. So based on that SMTP configuration, means it will send it as an attachment. You can see, so we are trying to add it as an attachment, right? You can see clearly here, we're trying to add an attachment, so that it sent a mail, and then finally we're trying to display that report has been successfully processed and sent to an email. So that is a payload, right? This is a payload. Okay, so this is the use case, guys. At a high level, we are trying to speak database. We are trying to fetch the information. That information we are frame it how we want. Okay, then we send to the email. That is the use case. I'll just try to execute it. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Venkat, we have a set variable, right? There is one payload, and in the database, the well, after fetching the results, there also one more payload is there. So what is both the payloads are same or different?
It's a different, no? It's a incoming payload. Whatever you are getting, right? In the payload, I'm sending first name and last name for the query purpose. You're getting, right? This payload is for. This is empty now. You are talking about this. This is empty. See, I'm sending a payload, right? This is nothing but a payload, right? First name, last name. I'm reading here. You're getting.
Okay.
I'm reading here.
Yeah.
So one thing you have to observe: how come you are sending a JSON, right? How come it's a
Yeah.
payload dot first name? How it will read it? We are not converting anywhere as a Java object. Right, I told you, right? So it will, so that's a 4.x feature. It will convert it as a object. You no need to convert it. So that I'm just passing the key, I'm getting the value. So coming to your question to answer, this is one payload that the purpose is only for reading the data and pass to query. That is the first payload, and the second payload is after getting the result, right? Query database, once query executed, we'll get a original result, right? That is the second payload. That payload we are sent to the mail. Okay,
Yeah. I want that's how it will identify that payload only. It will
let's
be
get
sent because two
overrided
payload.
here. Let's get
Okay.
overrided here.
Okay. So okay. Now the payload will not be there at that stage. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, okay.
See, if you want to maintain two payloads, how will maintain then? Suppose I want to hold payload also.
Then we need to
See,
maintain
in
in
the
session variable.
yeah, in the 3.8, we have a concept called enrichment also. Did you heard about that? Enrichment. So
No.
that when you use the enrichment, no, so you want to if you want to maintain apart from that session variable, you can keep it session variable also, but it's a costly. We should not until unless if really required, you should not maintain the session. Apart from that, there is an enrichment concept in the 3.8. So if you don't want to disturb existing payload, right? If you want to still continue till end, then you can use that enrichment concept. So whatever the latest payload, that we can keep it at a separate variable or else separate target, and then original payload as it is we can continue if you use enrichment, but there is no concept of enrichment here. Okay, so that's the case. Let's get deployed, guys. I'm just hitting the request.
Can't we use the multiple variables just for saving the payloads?
Yeah, you can use it. There is
Multiple
a other.
payloads.
Yeah, you
Variables.
can use it, and then there is one more way also there. So you can use, there is a groovy concept, a groovy component also there. You can use it and you can fetch that as a separate payload, the groovy component. Okay, there is a way, guys. I'll just open my mails also. This is the from mail ID. This is a two mail ID. There's a here is a 5 times already sent yesterday, guys. Let's see, it should be 6th time, right? When we'll try to now. I'll just hit the request. Here is we are sending a postman, post data, right? We should use any other API tool, how to use it. A report has been successfully processed and sent a mail. So from where we are getting in the last payload, you can see it. I just hard coded that part. Report has been sent, successfully processed, sent to email. I'll just show you as an email. You can see it, Venki B for Java. So got a 6th time, right? So I'll just open that part. You can see this 7:37 a.m. just now, right? 0 minutes ago. So you can see the attachment. The first name is Java and last name is this, gender, date of birth, hire date. Okay, so you can see the subject line and all same subject, right? That's why it's kind of a thread email, right? Please find the attachment attached as a DB Excel. Export from Excel. Okay, so any questions on this? If you want to see step by step.
In the attachment, we are just sending the payload, right? How the data is organized in the columns and rows in the sheet.
That we did in the here, no?
And how it will know that it has to go and sit in the row or column? The
That
data view.
here it will take care here. See, from the data we will get a payload, right?
Okay.
So then here we can see employees.csv. So here we are preparing the CSV sheet. You can see the name of the CSV sheet is employee.csv.
Okay.
These are nothing but a columns in DB, right? We are getting as a from the query we are taking that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so hope you guys are clear that one. See, generally when these kind of use cases will come into the picture, the email, this kind of thing, SMTP thing, we not discussed error handling part, guys. So some of the clients will ask something gone wrong in our flow, right? So they will ask to send a mail, right? Suppose you are trying to create an opportunity, so there is some missing fields or else some insufficient payload or else Salesforce get rejected. Boss, this is the information we are expecting, but you're not filling that information. So that so we'll push to the error handling, we'll send back the error message properly. and then parallelly we can send an email also. So why it is failing, the detailed reason we can take it, and then we can send a mail, right? So that so we'll get an alert, right? So that kind of thing. So this SMTP implementation, we can implement the error handling flow so that anything happen, we'll get an alert, we'll get a email. Okay. And then apart from that email, some of the clients will ask like anything happened in the flow, they will ask to send a message to the queue. Okay, either it's ActiveMQ or else a RabbitMQ. That queue configuration also you can do into the error handling flow, so that once flow get failed, we'll capture the detailed reason, and then whatever the basic payload you are pushing, we can handy that one. So your payload, and then what was the failure reason, what was the status code of that, all these things you can send a message to where the queuing mechanism, or else they will maintain some separate table. End of the day, they will look into it, how many get failure, how many get success, right? Maybe it's a timed out issues, maybe it's a payload issue, whatever you are sending, the payload is insufficient, right? So these kind of things, end of the day, it's kind of a some audit, right? So they will look into it, so that so they will try to rectify it next time, trying to reduce the count of failures, right? So that way also it will useful us, right? So that is about that. Apart from that, so next one is hope you can try other scenarios, guys. Delete, you can try it. And then bulk update, I will show you. Bulk update is nothing but there is a text area will come. In the text area, you can keep it multiple queries at a time, guys. That is nothing but a bulk update. If you want, I will show you. Then and then stored procedure, I will show you. Delete, you can try it. Okay, so query change only. Apart from that, everything is same. So this is a stored procedure, guys. So I'll just quickly walk through that, how to create a stored procedure, what was the purpose of the stored procedure, all these things, why nowadays people are preferred stored procedure. I will just walk through it. After that, I will try to show you that how to execute the procedure, how to call the procedure from the MuleSoft. Where is this? Yeah. So in the MySQL, I'm trying to show it to you guys the how to create the stored procedure and all. If you take any other database, it's a similar manner. So there is no much difference. You can also try in other databases also. Where is this? Okay, so here is the procedure. I'm just showing you how to create the procedure. So here there is a concept called delimiter, guys. You can keep the delimiter. It's a comment, and then create a procedure followed by procedure name. So this is the way you have to create it. Create. So definer root at the local host means I'm creating at a local host. Suppose if you want to create a remote, right? So generally we'll connect with some third-party tools. Like suppose in this particular scenario, the MySQL bench I am using, MySQL workbench I am using, right? From MySQL workbench, you want to create some remote database. You want to create that delimiter, that procedure. In place of localhost, you have to keep it a remote, and the root is nothing but a username, guys. I mean, that guy should have a permissions to create a procedure or else create a table. I means write permissions you should have. Apart from that read, you should have a write permissions. So the root have, it's a default user in my case. That's why obviously the root have all the permissions. If you are using any specific user, that user should have a write permissions, so that you can keep it. And this is nothing but a remote host. Okay, 1 second, guys. Sorry for that. And then next one is procedure followed by procedure name. Okay, add bonus by employee number. So what this procedure will do, I just want to add a bonus to particular employee. Okay, so when you're trying to create a procedure, here is a concept, guys. So there is an in parameter and then out parameter as well as in out parameter. What is this concept in parameter and out parameter and in out parameter? So when you are keeping an in parameter, that means you are expecting as an input, right? This procedure will expect as an input in parameter, means input it will expect. That is nothing but employee key as an integer. Next one is in additional bonus expecting as an integer. So these two parameters it will expect this procedure. When somebody trying to call this procedure, they have to pass these two parameters. One is employee ID, another one is how much bonus they want to add it. These two parameters they have to send, and the people will call this procedure. Okay, so what it will do, this procedure will take this input as a two parameters, and then it's try to update salary table. Okay, begin update salary set to bonus equal additional bonus plus bonus. Okay, means the bonus column already there in the table. You can see it, the insert query in the top. The bonus column already there in the table, employee table, sorry, salary table. So what we are doing, we are trying to get as additional bonus. We are trying to add the additional bonus to bonus. That's what we are doing. Set to bonus equal additional bonus, whatever you are getting from the input, and then we are trying to add it to bonus. And then where employee number equal the employee key. So that particular employee we are trying to add the bonus. Hope you guys are clear. So generally when procedure will use or else advantage, here if you see I was talking about only one particular table, right? Only salary table. So in the procedure we can write a logic and we can play with multiple tables also. It's like a join kind of things, right? Left inner join, left outer join, these kind of joins, right? We can play with multiple tables. We can check the validations kind of thing, you know. All these informations we can write into the procedure, so that time only we'll go for procedures, right? And then whatever the information they will expect, we have to share it as an parameter, and then we'll fetch the out parameters as a result, right? This is the way to create the procedure. So for calling a procedure, simply see this how to call it. Call followed by your procedure name, how procedure will expect, what are the parameters procedure will expect. First one is key name it will expect, and the another one is bonus it will expect. Both are integers, right? So I already execute this procedure in backend, guys. If you try to execute it also, it will say already. It will say already execute. So I'm trying to execute this one. I'm just calling the procedure. I'm not executing stored procedure once again. I'll just I'll just call the stored procedure with the two parameters. Okay, you can see it here. One row get affected just now, 0.00 seconds. So let's see. I'll just open the tape, open the employee number. So 7,000 as a bonus now, right? 7,000, you can see it. Employee number 1011. Salary amount is this, and bonus is 7,000. Let me try to add one more 500. I'll just add a 500 to as a bonus to that particular employee. Query get executed. Now see the salary table. $7,500 you can see. So what it will do, it will call the procedure, and then it will whatever the query, whatever the procedure we done, right? the procedure will get updated, and then it will insert into the data. So after calling the procedure, you can see that. So means, so this is from the backend, right? So same when you're trying to implement a flow, this should happen through flow, right? There's a backend. I just call the procedure and I just execute it. So that get reflected in the table, salary table. Same thing happened in the through flow also. So before going to that, so do you have any questions regarding that procedure? Anybody have any questions? Again, guys, I'm trying to repeat it. So you don't need to complete knowledge on the stored procedure. Somebody else will write the stored procedure. At least we should know the basic knowledge. What was the way to create the procedure, how to call the procedure. So you have to knowledge on the procedure, basic procedure at least, so that you know. So once somebody else will share that, they will share the procedure name and then what are the parameters they will expect, all these information they will share you. So then you simply call the procedure in the where in the component itself. Okay. If not clear, or else if you're not aware about it, the SQL queries and database thing, or else this procedure thing particularly, so no bother about that, guys. So there is a separate team for each client. People will maintain the DBA people, so they will share you the procedure details and all. But I told you, know, there is a challenges when somebody backend is not yet ready. So then we have to prepare it and we have to at least mock up. So with the mock-up, we have to work on it. So we create a we will create a sample mock-up and then we'll work on it. We'll finish our work. Okay. So this is a procedure calling. I'll just call that same procedure. Here we can search for a stored procedure in the palette. So the stored procedure. Just drag and drop that stored procedure, and then whatever the same thing I'm passing, guys, here. How to call the procedure here, same way I passed it. But you know, aware, you people are aware, right? How to pass that this as a dynamic. In previous step also we seen, right? As a I just have a cough, guys, please bear with me. See here, you know that in the previous step how to pass as a dynamic, right? I just hard coded here, but you should not hard code. In the previous scenario, we seen how to pass it as a dynamic, as a JSON content. We have to pass it, right? Just pass like that. The 1011 1500, sorry, 500. Pass it. Then that's all, guys. Nothing is there. You don't need to change anything. Pass it. Then it will execute it and it will run it. It will fetch the result. And sorry.
Store procedure configuration, connector configuration, anything you need to change. Can you
This
open
way
the
you
web
can add
view?
it. Oh, stored. No, same. No, this is same. It's a connection configuration.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm trying to highlight you guys. See, connection is similar for all. Only the operation is different. You're getting right. And then in this particular case, I told you, right, in parameter and out parameter. So there is a extra effort is required here. So you can see it in out parameter. So if you want, I will show you one more example for that. But this is the way you have to call it. And then in this particular scenario, see, we're not getting any information back, right? That's why I didn't update as input in parameters, right? So both are both are in parameter to the procedure. Okay, so here I'm passing here. Apart from that, here you can see it uh, in the expression. You can see as an in parameter, right? You can add it here. You can add it here as in parameter. Key is nothing but what? So this is a employee key, right? EMP key. You can see it here. In the procedure, you can see employee key. this one in parameter, and the additional bonus 2 parameters we can add it here. It's a simply GUI based, guys. If you're not able to do it, I will take one more example. I will explain you. You just pass the key here, and the value you can read it as a dynamic way. Okay, that we can add it 2 values and then we can pass it. Okay, not only 2, how many parameters it will expect based on your procedure. So these many values we have to add it here. Okay, I'll just quickly call this.
The procedure will be selected there, right? If the database have the procedure and packages
No, first we have, yeah, first in the backend the
in
procedure
connector.
should be ready.
Yeah. Basically in connector
You have to
where
write
we
that
select
procedure name.
if it is existing package and stored procedure. So
Hmm.
we can select it from which option in connector.
Not select, we have to write it. The component itself a procedure component. Can you see the palette?
Okay.
See, in the 3.8, you have to drag a database connector. In the drop down, you have to choose the operation, right? Procedure, proc operation, you have to choose it. Stored procedure operation, you have to choose it. But in this 4.x, from outside only you decide what operation you are going to do. Either it's a insert or create or select or else stored procedure. So that you know, so this component itself is a stored procedure. You are getting right.
Okay. Yeah.
That suppose if we want to add multiple call procedures in the connector, how we configure?
See,
Multiple.
actually, it will support only one procedure here. So, but it will support multiple queries. That is a bulk update. You're getting right. So why I'm saying it's not supporting multiple procedures? Generally, procedure will expect, procedure will expect dynamic parameters like in parameters, out parameters. In the bottom, we have to add that one. If you keep it multiple procedure calls, I'm not sure. Maybe it will support also. Just check it. I will also check it. In the bottom, you have to add all the input parameters, output parameters. But problem is, once we'll get the results, we have to accommodate it, right? Which one is for which procedure result? That way, we'll get confused, or else we have to properly accommodate it. That way, we'll have a confusion. If you go for bulk update now, so we won't have any issue. Suppose I want to update. I want to update few tables, right? So table 1, table 2, table 3, like that. So there is a bulk update option is there. We can update it. Okay, so here is a bulk update or bulk delete, bulk insert. So create bulk. So these operations are there. It will support. But whereas in procedure, I'm not sure. Just check it. I will also check it that part. You're clear?
Okay.
But these kind of things it will support, I guess, because we're not getting any information back, right? It will give back only some kind of if you update any database, it will give some numeric value, right? Inserted, updated one row successfully, that kind of information back, right? If you do multiple times now, so maybe it will give multiple records updated. That way we have to accommodate it and which one is updated properly, or else if some issue happened in the one of the procedure, that very it's little bit confusion which procedure is get failed, then we have to accommodate it accordingly, right? So it's better to have one procedure at a time. So suppose if you want to do multiple procedures, there is a other way, right? So you can keep some choice component, or else if you want to do in a batch job, we have a multiple step 1, step 2. According to 3.8, there is a multiple step. So first we'll update a stored procedure 1. Second, you can update stored procedure 2. Like that also you can do it. Okay, I don't think so this is a real-time use case. We'll get a multiple procedure updation, but I'm sure we'll get a multiple queries update, multiple deletes, multiple insertions, multiple updates we'll get. Okay, I will update you guys. If you have a solution for that, I will just look into it. I will update you exact solution for that. Okay, hope I answered your question. And then let me try to hit that request. HTTP localhost and then stored proc. Stored proc. One second, guys. I'll just put it two things. HTTP. Okay. Updated count 1. Okay, 1 row get affected. So earlier 7,500, right? Bonus. Let me try to see once again. Okay, 8,000 guys. Okay, any other questions? I will show you one more procedure thing. So we'll work on that multiple procedure, how it will behavior also we'll see. Tomorrow we'll see that one. So any other questions, guys, before wind up the session? Hope you guys are clear. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Venkat, I have one. Actually, I'm getting the confusion with the input parameters and output parameters, as well as the set payload. Also, we can use the set payload.
See, set payload is a why set payload you are getting confusion. So I just want to display here in the browser.
In between the components.
In between the components, we just hold that payload. See, the set payload component help us to handle the payload, to hold the payload. You're getting right. So in this particular scenario also lost and the final thing is I just want to display payload in the browser. If you're not keep it as a payload here, it won't display on the browser. You're getting. See,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
actually, I'm understanding that in the last end of the payload result in the browser. But if you want the set payload, I need to continue the middle of the payload until the end of the outbound parameter outbound. How we can carry the same set payload? We
If
want
you
to use the
want to
same
carry,
set payload
hmm,
until the last payload. How we can use?
that's what. If you're not talking any outbound connector, if you're not talking any, if you're not getting any payload, then you can maintain. Otherwise, it will get override. If you want to maintain, so there is a session variable is there. We can handy that one. Okay. Or else,
Okay.
according to 3.8, we have an enrichment concept. That concept is not there here. So there is one more way called you can create a groovy script. You can hold it as a normal variable also. You can, I mean, if you use a normal variable, problem is if you are touching any outbound connector like HTTP or else SMTP, if you use any outbound connector, it get overridden with new payload. If you still want to
Okay.
maintain, there is other ways you have to maintain a session variable.
Okay. Which one is the glue variable is better or session variable is better in this case?
Um, See, that's what. If you're not talking to any external system, anyway we'll maintain the it already by default you have a payload. If you're not talking to any outbound connector, means any other system. Okay, if you are talking to other outbound connector or else other system, your payload get overridden. Okay, so that time you have to maintain the session variable. There is no other way.
Okay, thank you.
So in a normal case, you no need to create a variable separately. Anyway, by default, you have handy whatever the starting payload. Till end, we have handy that payload.
Okay.
Okay.
Venkat, can you open that
Can you
transform
please,
message once?
Venkat, can you please click on transform message? Yeah. Configure.
I'll just convert into JSON because from the back end will give some object, right? Generally
Okay.
when we're trying to hit with a database, the database will give some kind of a object. That's why I'm trying to show properly as a message here. That's why I convert into the object, I mean JSON object.
Okay,
Nothing
fine.
is there.
Thank you.
Whatever the payload I'm getting previous step, I'm just converted
Okay.
here.
Please
We
click on
don't have any
set payload.
transformers here. I mean, in a 3.8, we have for everything we have a transformer, right? Converting into XML to JSON, object to JSON, string to JSON, string to object. So, but here for everything we have to use transform only.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
So this is a payload. Any other questions, guys?
Venkat, suppose
Yeah.
in this, if we had HTTP connector here, when we configure all the host name and everything, uh, whenever we hit from the local host, say to that port, what kind of response we will get? I mean, like JSON or object, or how do we know that it is giving those kind of results?
See, generally that's why as a developer we have to execute in a debug mode always, so that you will get to know the what type of object it will return. So suppose you are not aware the what database component will give the output, or else we are talking to some Salesforce, so you don't know until unless you will see that result. So what kind of result it will give, the type, right? So when you're trying to execute in a debug mode, you'll get to know the type in attributes. You can see clearly the payload type or else any variable, right? Whatever the data you are getting, you can see clearly type, so that if you want to typecast it, you can typecast it using the transform. You can convert into other format. So that way you have to take the decision.
Okay. Okay.
Or else in the debugger, I shown that evaluator expression, right? The symbol x plus y equal to question mark. So through that also you can see, then we can convert it, we can take the syntax, we can put into the component. That will help us. Okay, so hope you guys are clear. So guys, will you able to connect tomorrow? Because it's a holiday now. So if you can able to connect it, so then we'll take the session, or else we'll connect day after tomorrow. Everybody can able
We'll
to
connect
connect. Okay.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
tomorrow.
Okay, then we'll take this
Venkat, will you
session.
be sharing examples to practice also?
Yeah, sure. I will share. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye.